Well, let's see what happens. Hey Sigrid, thanks for subscribing. The streaming program keeps just going away. It shuts down. Yeah. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I don't think it has anything to do with our bandwidth. I think it's...
Well, if it happens again, I can reset the internet.
Yeah, I don't think it's the internet either. It's the program that keeps shutting down. Where's my brick at? There, brick ring. Using my tablet again. Doesn't seem to be busting anything. Yeah, I need those lines to be quite a bit thicker. Let's see, the Photoshop that crashes me. Probably no faster than just doing the lines thicker, but hey, this is what we got. Using my tablet in Photoshop, it's not crashing. I don't know what happens when you save over a file that I assume you need to re-import it. That's more better. Okay, so make this quite a bit smaller.
This is Shane's mom. Sorry, he doesn't. Oh, he doesn't have a phone right now. I can get a message to him though, easily. No, I'm sorry. Wait, who is this? try like ballot. Thanks, Shane. Thanks for using my phone number.
Doubt it was anything he did volitionally.
I know. I don't want my number being used. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he needs a phone number, if he needs to enter a phone number, he might need. He just needs to get one that's paid. You don't have to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's the best thing. I don't want to pay this price.
Oh, Ginger is a sticky poo. Zbrush costs, I believe, it just went up from $700 to $800. I'm wondering if I want to just use a. See what happens if I use a spray. Ah. Let's see if I can placement at 1. Huh. It's actually not too bad. But let's scale this up 1. Turn the flow down maybe. Like how it's giving it some more like worn looking parts. Sigrid, how do you only have 1338 after you subscribed? Haven't you subscribed before? Like, I think you get 1,000 hearts every time you subscribe. So, like, every month. Letha, I said that Zbrush is $800. Did you forget to take your listening pills today? Oh, sure, blame it on Michelle. Let me tell you, it is super fun. I mean, I spent $700 on it, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago to get my own personal copy. And like all the upgrades have been free. And the amount of time that I've spent with it, it's quite the value when it comes to software packages, considering, you know, you could get Maya or Max for like, I don't know, $7,000. $800 is incredibly reasonable for what is the industry standard for making Hollywood movies and AAA video games. Like, why do they keep it so low? I don't know. They could totally make it, 10 times more. So, I'm a big fan of Pixelogic for keeping it as low as they have. Don't tell them it could be 10 times more. Oh, shoot. I'm sure they're watching this stream, so sorry, it's too late. Now they know. Better hurry. Get your copy now before it goes up to $7,000. $8,000. Yeah, they had their first price increase just last year, but they had kept it at that rate for like a decade, I think, so, which is ridiculous in software, in the software world. The path with that texture kind of goes along the side. So if I just mask this off. Actually, this would make more sense. Where I want it to go. Invert that. Oh. Invert that. There we go. Very nice. I think I'll do the corners a little fancier. No. Take that back. Take it all back. Did I see the audiobook for Magic is to Fly available? I did not. But you should certainly post a link for anyone who's curious about that, including myself. Hidden Level is my next book in the works to be an audiobook. Cool. Yeah, I'd listen to that. The only RPG lit that I have ever encountered is Ready Player One, which kind of qualifies, and the anime Sword Art Online. And both of them had interesting elements, so I'd be curious to see what you bring to the genre. Consider both those to be RPG lit. Alright. Take your word for it. Ooh. I think I'm going to make the top of this castle extra bright. Pick what it is now. Pop it up just a tad. Probably brought nothing great, but I haven't seen any other lit RPG like mine yet. Alright, awesome. That means you did bring something to it. Hey Duplantis, thanks for hosting me with your 4 viewers. I appreciate it. Hi all 4 of you. How you doing? You now quadrupled my view count. Congrats. Now I've got to be extra entertaining. Quick, give me a topic to riff on. It'll be super entertaining.
Sounds like shoebop shawana boom. Wadam ding dong. Almost.
That's, you could just be entertaining for me. My off-screen partner will entertain you all.
I actually had to memorize the whole song.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's, small town, choir in 7th grade. This choir teacher who loved. Plus it was probably audience safe schools.
Yeah. What was that awful song they were playing in Safeway last night? That was 60s kitsch. Flying Purple People Eater. God, so many obnoxious sounds in that song.
Didn't they mix it with other of the same songs? Or is that all one
I think that was all one annoying song. I think that there was just a wave of super obnoxious songs that kids would love that came out in the 60s. I think that was the same time as the Monster Mash. What else was like that? Also around the same time they started making movies about inanimate objects that had feelings and emotions, like Kirby the Love Bug. And what's the other famous one? I can't remember. I swear there were a couple. Yes, Heather is always coming to the rescue. That's just what she does. She's a rescuer.
It's my rescue my live stream. Wow, I don't. My brain's like, okay, remember how the song goes. I'm like, no, we don't. It's not really important. No, remember it. Nope, it's not really important right now.
It's the most important thing in the world to your brain right now. Oh, you know what I keep forgetting? Let's save this real quick. Zelda stuff. 3D print. Keep forgetting to do our cognitive bias of the day. On the menu for today. I believe we're still in favoring simple looking options and complete information. Bike shedding, rhymes reason, belief bias, information bias, ambiguity bias. I'm gonna guess that's just the stupidly simple, we don't like things that are ambiguous. No way I can't even spell bias, let alone ambiguity. Implies that people tend to select options for which the probability of a favorable outcome is known. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is the one that gets all math core. Nope. Okay, we're on to the next section. Yay, we did it. We completed our first section of cognitive biases, guys. We're so much better than everyone else now. Okay, next. To avoid mistakes, we aim to preserve autonomy and group status and avoid irreversible decisions. Status quo bias. Boy, that one seems pretty straightforward. Let's double check. Status quo bias is an emotional bias, a preference for the current state of affairs. Duh. The current baseline, or status quo, is taken as a reference point, and any change from that baseline is perceived as a loss. So, you recently inherited some money from your great uncle. You know your great uncle.
My uncle was pretty great.
Yeah. Choose one of the following investments for the inheritance. Invest in a moderate risk company A, or invest in a high risk company B. I'm going to guess because you inherited the money, you would be more risky with it than if you were just spending money that you had saved normally. Let's go to this site and find out. Oh man, look at this. Look at this mess. This is awful. See if they've got a good example. Non-rational cognitive processes. Well, duh. Loss aversion, endowment effect. Examples. Here we go. Kahneman. The usual suspect when it comes to cognitive biases. Thaler and Knetch created experiments that could produce this effect reliably. Questionnaire. Subjects were faced with a series of decision problems which were alternately framed to be with and without pre-existing status quo position. Subjects tended to remain with the status quo when such a position was offered them. Hypothetical choice tasks. Subjects were given a hypothetical choice task in the following neutral version in which no status quo was defined. You are a serious reader of the financial pages, but until recently you have few funds to invest. I see. Stop talking about investing. Like, so few people can, like, relate to that. Electric power consumers. California electric power consumers were asked about their preferences regarding trade-offs between service reliability and rates. The respondents fell into two groups, one with much more reliable service than the other. Each group was asked to state a preference among 6 combinations of reliability and rates. Gosh, you guys are not good at being succinct with this. Alright, next time I'm going to do research first. I don't want to do research during an art stream. I just want to talk about stuff. But I think we all get it. I think that goes without saying. Like, you just want things to be the same as they always have been because that's perceived to be safer and more reliable. Unless you're like having a torturous life, in which case you're probably desperate enough to overcome that bias. Playing it safe, yes. Okay, I think I've got all the textures on all the major things, except for the ground. So, let's texture the ground, shall we? Looks like I started up here. At least painted texture on there. Oh, thank you, Aletha. I think it's beautiful too. Okay, we're gonna spray. What does this do? That's just doing color. I don't want color. Just want to add. Just the standard thing seems to do a pretty good job for making kind of a gravelly, rocky terrain up here. I guess if anything, let's try doing color with it. Not that bright a color. Maybe this bright a color. That way all the highlights, they're both physical highlights and colored highlights. Let me make sure whoever is pinging me isn't an emergency.
It's not. It's Tanya.
Oh,
She's sharing something super, super interesting.
Super, super interesting. Wow. That sounds twice as interesting as something that's just super interesting.
I wanted to see this like thing, and I was like, yeah, it'd be interesting. And then, anyways, but to include you too.
Okay.
So we were.
I agree with half that statement, Alita. I do not like the days getting shorter either. But I like it when it's warm. I would probably love the weather of like around Southern California if it wasn't in Southern California.
Well, it still gets darker early, but it's warmer.
This year it does get darker,
Yeah.
but I mean
Remember,
it stays
like,
about the same.
Yeah, it stays about
Darkness,
the
right?
same, about like 8:30. I think it's around 8:30ish.
I think so. But
Which is kind
right
of
now
nice.
sundown is 7:30
It's
here.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun when it's like warm at night.
Yeah.
However,
I like warm nights a lot.
it's usually not like a fun warm. It's like still 80 something, 90 degrees warm, and
Oh.
the day was 100. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, in summer,
Well,
but most of the year they're
even
in the
winter,
mid
they hit
70s.
90s.
Really? That's
Their winter is not very short, so sure, most of it, but it's not. I mean, sorry, it's not very long.
I guess I've heard different things from different people because they perceive it.
Well, I
differently.
do like Southern California, like Disneyland, and remember
Yeah.
it was like whatever, it was a lot. But I know that even in December, like when I grew up, I was little in December on Christmas. I remember running outside, and we were like me and all the kids were in shorts and t-shirts because it was warm.
Yeah.
And mid 70s isn't warm. Mid 70s is you've gotten your winter coat. Like,
Mhm.
for sure. 60s is like winter coat. So, it's very weird to be so.
Acclimated. Letha likes the warmer days for the dryness because of trail rides, but the sun tends to roast me half the time to death, or half to death. Yes. I don't like being under roasting sun. That's the part that I would not like about LA weather. Yeah, like partly cloudy days that are low 70s with just a little bit of a like neutral, not warm, not cold breeze. That's my absolute favorite weather. Plus, I guess I need to stay out of sun from now on because I might have the skin cancer.
I told him I'm waiting to read it. What she sent. What women do.
Letha, you agree? Low 70s, partly sunny, nice breeze.
And Scott's
Gentle.
tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why I was mowing the lawn. The landlord's coming over.
So the chair and
You should just tell Scott to bring the chair with him. Can you stop by and relax the back?
Could you?
He's got a truck, I mean.
Could you kill some spider traps? Shit, I'm totally forgetting who sent. Oh, I don't know what her real name is, but on Instagram, her name is like Candy or something. But she does, I think, actual photos that Disney was looking at. Anyways, she's super nice, but she was telling me that, I mean, they're in Florida, you know, and she told me that the spiders look like wood spiders, which are also very similar, like maybe same or whatever as wolf spiders, which we have wolf spiders here,
Yeah.
and so it's like asking her like, why would they want to be here? Like, I don't really know anything about wolf spiders except for that chart, or that actually I saw on like Orkin or something, their website, you know, the insect killer people,
Mm-hmm.
that while they have venom, it's not poisonous. But they listed hobo spiders, recluse, and black widows as venom poisonous, and like what their bites would look like. But the weird thing was they didn't have sac spiders on there, and they couldn't. But they're technically called yellow sac spiders, but that's because of a Latin thing. But they're not necessarily yellow. They probably aren't ever. But those things, those are venomous and poisonous too.
Yeah.
And they cause those blisters. For sure, everything says that they cause those blisters. So it means that spider, they're pretty identifiable in the areas of that. So that's why I think they actually have specifics about their bites, right? But if you want to diagnose or identify a hobo spider, the male and females look considerably different. The males look like other spiders, and if true identification is like as ridiculous as what we say, then that means you literally have to have the spider intact, take a sample of its stomach tissue and test it to really rule it out. It's like, okay. Or
because usually when spiders bite you, then they just sit down next to you and wait for you to pick them up gently.
yeah, they're like, hey, they're gonna, the medical community and, whatever people are gonna want to know who did it.
Yeah.
They're gonna want to know proof if you saw a spider. Otherwise, it's probably just MRSA.
Yeah.
Or shingles. Oh, sure. So MRSA, look at the bite. So MRSA causes 2 little wounds and blisters and scars, and skin infection, prevalent infection. Sort of, but not really. Doesn't heal as ulcers. That's why it was also maybe shingles. But not a spider, because I did not see a spider. So what do you know about wolf spiders?
Me, personally?
Yeah,
Nothing.
So I think the way to get rid of these kinds of spiders are literally, it's clean out the debris surrounding the house, like leaves. Also a way to get rid of snails and slugs too.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of leaves, like leaves and debris stuff around, and yeah, that's where they like that. But to get to part of it, like right there in the kitchen window, that would mean that I have to go into like several spider houses, and I just don't live doing that.
I don't know who would feel like doing
Well, you're not afraid. And while I've been really trying to be brave and not be afraid of spiders, and despite being bitten 3 times and having really severe reactions, after being going through that actual deadly allergic attack from the surgical glue, and knowing that those cells transformed into my body and made me really, really ill, battling anaphylactic. And, what?
What are you doing?
Sorry, that one comment makes no sense to me. And, so after all of that, right? And I'm like, no, it's just a spider. I know what to do. I'll just, go get, put the ointment cream on, that super crazy, intense, strongest cortisone cream, right? Steroid cream.
Okay.
But then, reading what happened to Alejandro, I'm like, well, crap, see? Western Washington, this guy gets bit by a spider, and it goes necrosis. And he's at risk of losing his arm.
Yeah.
Because they've had
That's
to
terrifying.
do so many surgeries in the last 5 days. In the NICU, or NICU, not NIC, but, it's called. And wait, wow, sorry. I should not look at my computer. At the intensive care unit, I see you in Harborview with his arm sliced from wrist to elbow and kept open to monitor to make sure they don't have to keep removing more tissue. I mean, he said it's huge surgery. And then hearing that your brother's friend was like, oh yeah, you know, like, he lost both of his legs from a spider bite. And then it's like, no, we do have these bad spiders over here. So I'm trying not to be afraid, but like, I feel like that just went all out the window this week. And then seeing these,
understandably
like,
so.
these mammoth spiders, like, holding their ground, like, not even afraid that I'm like, doo-doo-doo, into the bathroom. You jump just like, I dare you know? And then I run out, and it still didn't jump, and then I come back in with you, and it's still like, looking at like, what? Come at me, bro. You know, dare you don't move. And then, you know, the one the other night where it's just like racing at my feet, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that we've had other spiders here where I've tried to kill it and it just keeps coming towards you. That's a very hobo spider thing.
Yeah.
When they go at you, that's like sick. And I don't know what that spider did yesterday or the other day when that big one. Good time. It's always a good time. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. What's up with this crazy song inside my head?
It's pretty good.
I'm down, get down to get down tonight. It's always a good time.
Cigarette hates spiders, so you got someone there with you.
Oh man.
Aletha says, I closed the door and a great big spider came swinging out and around like a ninja.
Oh.
Missed my nose by maybe half an inch.
Stupid spiders. The good news though, if you see a brown one, you're like, wow, I don't really know about this one. The hobo spider does not have yellow ringlets or any rings on its legs. And a lot of the spiders that we see around here do have those rings. So those ones, if they actually bite you, they're like little wusses and they're probably not going to do much. So, I'm just saying. But the hobo spiders, you know, they're kind of a muddy mix of colors. Like kind of a chevron, but hard to tell anyways. And you'd have to get really close to see that. You really don't want to get that close because it's either like you don't want it to run off and then lose it. Like that's the worst possible thing.
You mean if it bites you?
Well, no. Is it just being there and you want to just get rid of it? You don't. It's like if you didn't kill that spider in the bathroom and you lost it in the pile of laundry on the floor.
Yeah.
I would never go into that room again. Like ever.
Ever.
Ever. I just sound like Taylor Swift. Like that. We're never getting back together. Like ever. You're welcome for all this.
Aletha squished it and then felt bad.
I know.
But hobo spiders die mostly without guilt. Different.
That spider that you killed last time, I also went into a rage because I'm like, how many times? Like, just die! Like, it hurts. Like, it feels so bad. Like, you're torturing an animal. Because Josh just keeps hitting it, and then it, like, gets up and runs, and he hits it again, and it runs again, and he hits it. I'm like, oh my god, just like, stop doing this. Like, please. It's like if you hit your animal, you know, it can't handle it. Like, I mean, when I saw that earthworm getting attacked by a centipede like a year ago, I could not. Like, the earthworm was just squirming, and you could see, like, fleshy parts, and I just couldn't. And you told me, like, you know, having to interfere with nature or whatever. Like, it was just bad. I basically got a stick and flicked off that centipede and then put a rock over it.
And now that centipede's babies are starving to
And
death.
I'm sure that worm
in agony.
That worm just died an even slower agonizing death. I don't really know. But you told me that you're pretty sure they're just little motors, so they don't really have like a
That's my best guess. Is that they experience stimuli and respond to that stimuli, but I don't think they have enough neurons to experience emotional pain when their bodies feel the stimulus of pain.
Danielle did send me
Just a guess, though.
or like a thing about that, because maybe she attached it to my post.
You never know what it's like to be a bat or anything else.
Why would,
It's Thomas Nagel's famous.
unlike a bat,
paper.
I've heard something insects.
Alien phenomenology is the branch of philosophy that deals with what it's like to be things, and it's generally just like creative exercises to try to get outside of our human experience and say, what's it like to be this thing? Actually, there's a podcast that just started recently that's pretty hilarious. I feel like you might even like it, hon. What is it called? Oh, it's called Everything is Alive.
Wait, what is it?
It's a podcast, and it's interviews. So there's one guy, and he interviews inanimate objects. Like, the first one was a can of generic cola, but the object is performed by an actor who's like really good at improv.
Wait, what is it called?
Everything is Alive.
Okay.
So far he's done a can of cola, a pillow, and a street lamp.
Yeah, it says it right here. I wonder if you have to do it on Apple, or you can just do it
You could just play it on that.
on this.
On the
Do you do
computer.
it like this?
Yeah, you just hit the play button.
Well, I can't right now because we're streaming.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Honey,
Honey,
don't be ridiculous.
honey!
Although,
That's the closest we've come to a fight in like 3 years.
Did you know when my alarm went off, I barely recognized, or barely like.
Yeah,
knew
you
this?
were out of it. Oh, wait. This morning?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about some other time?
Are you talking about this morning?
I'm talking about this morning.
Why? What was I doing?
Well, usually I come and I give you a kiss on the forehead, and you're like, oh yeah, and then I just say, I love you too, and then I leave.
Yeah.
Forever. And this time, like, you were just out.
I know that it registered. And I remember thinking too that I was still dreaming, but I just remember thinking also that, like, oh yeah, you did hear the podcast playing, right? And but I was having this dream that Josie at the last minute was like me and Danielle went to go pick her up to go to the 21 Pilots concert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the last minute, she's like, my mom said I can't go. And I was so angry and pissed because of all the, like, just all the work and, you know, not to mention the money, right? And
oh no! It did that thing again. What causes that to do that? You guys saw that, right? Suddenly my screen just shrunk down to a postage stamp, and it does, like, the only way I've ever been able to fix that is to close Zbrush and reopen it. What in the world? What could I possibly have hit over here? Fit mesh to view? No, that would be it. This is symmetry and rotating, local transformations. Floor, that just shows a grid on the floor. Is it this? Anti-alias? Let me save it and try clicking some of these random buttons. I don't know what they do. Yeah, there's undo buttons, but it doesn't undo the view size. Let's do 1-to-1. Oh, look at that. Okay. That's what I'm accidentally hitting. Anti-aliased half size. I want actual size. Huh. Weird. iTunes.
So it isn't. I don't ever do it for nothing. If I do it on my computer, it's without it. I keep telling myself it's time to start being smart
No.
and listening to podcasts while on my walks.
Oh, yeah. That would make you
And
smarter.
I feel like my obsessive need that I think that it's not obsessive, but I really do space off
Mm-hmm.
if I'm just hearing audio.
Right.
So, but I feel like I have this premise that is like, you need to be writing notes to make sure you don't miss a thing. But the problem is then I miss a ton.
Because you're writing notes.
Yeah. And it's like, nope, just absorb. Enjoy and step back and absorb what you hear.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a problem with remembering things. Or at least recalling.
Yeah.
And then articulating really anything on top of that. So if it's something interesting that I learned, trying to recall and then on top of it articulate it is not. It's just going to be messy. And full of my, interpretations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Emotionally, I felt that they were saying, works great. See, it's under podcast, you're so smart.
There's a really good podcast called You Are Not So Smart.
Perfect. See? Everything.
It's mostly about cognitive biases, so I love it, of course.
It's not even, it's everything is alive?
Yep.
Oh, it said no, and then it's here. I don't understand this. Is it searching everything is alive? Why don't you just go there? Oh. Subscribe. See? A bar of soap.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Does
one.
the blue one only mean what you can get, or it says explicit?
I don't know.
Are these free?
Yeah. I've never paid for a podcast. I do Patreon support some podcasters, but as far as I know.
The elevator? An elevator?
Oh, I haven't heard that one yet.
If I subscribe, do you think it Wait, are you sure you want to subscribe to Everything is Alive? Well, not, but see, I don't really subscribe to that belief because not. Oh, wait, just kidding. It wasn't that deep of a question. It was just.
Do you swear that everything
crossed
is in
and
fact
eyes dotted.
alive?
The most recent appearable podcast.
So I'm wanting to do this little grass tufts along the side. And I'm hoping that if I do my little cavity mask again. Let's see. Invert that. Okay, now can I do dark brown and it'll shade under. Oh. Turn off.
Why?
Is this gonna work?
Oh yeah. So what I was saying was, when the alarm went off, the radio played on my thing, and it was like, Apple new phone, and I just remembered. So Apple came out with a new phone.
The
today? R?
The XS?
No, R.
Say so.
Big news! iPhone XR. Oh, so, okay, introducing the new iPhone XS, the iPhone XS Max, which sounds like,
Excessive?
excessive, and also a tablet that I'm getting. iPad, thank you, Frank, thanks, see? Recalling. It's ridiculous, right in front of my freaking face. Okay, and then the iPhone XR and Apple Watch Series 4. Bigger screens are just the beginning.
Oh man.
Hopefully
Hopefully you can play Skyrim on your Apple Watch.
5 foot tall phones are also just beginning.
What's that show we're watching with the? He's got a phone that's like the size of a tablet on his wrist.
No.
Corporate.
That thing is getting boring. Super Retina display in 2 sizes. A12 bionic chip. Ooh.
That sounds
Can I get one of those?
fancy.
Advanced Face ID. Ooh, so I could recognize people better. Who are you again? Oh yeah. And then a breakthrough dual camera system with depth control. Shoot, I need that. I don't even have depth control systems. Well, maybe depth in general, but
You're a pretty deep person.
but
There we go. So I can do the shadow first and then do my little grass tufts hanging over it. That works really well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shade. I'm going to throw shade all over this map. Oh. And the nice thing is, however much shade I put, I can just customize the grass to make sense for whatever the shadow ends up being.
the per. From has genders. Remember the 2 kids
Mm-hmm.
asking help.
That's great.
Trying to be mature about, but my brain's. Why is life locked?
Oh, yikes. Totally missed the rock texture on that area.
You want me to read out loud the 21-minute read by Mark Manson, the One Rule for Life?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I don't think other people would. Although, I do
Better than my
enjoy-
cognitive biases.
I do enjoy making voices. Okay, like if someone's like, "Oh my gosh, stop," just say, just
It's
tell
my
us.
channel. They can't.
Or they can tell me to stop. It's fine. But also, is it wrong if I'm reading someone else's material and they say who it is? Technically, isn't that like it's free advertising? Although he could say, "Dude, you're ruining my brand because you're reading it. You, the person, are reading it. This is why I'm not a voice actor."
I don't think any of our 5 viewers are going to notify Mark Manson that we were reading his One Rule for Life.
All right. Well, this comes from Mark Manson.
Is he related to Marilyn Manson?
No. Author, thinker, and life enthusiast.
Oh, a life enthusiast.
I almost said enthusiasticer. So see, that's why somebody might like not enjoy me reading their stuff, like as if it's bad. Like if Alita wouldn't want me probably reading her books because it could actually depreciate.
I don't think so.
Okay, well so Mark Manson wrote this in August 16th. He's the guy who wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. See, and I'll try to make sure that I don't do the press. I know
Okay,
it's bad.
yeah, so PG-13 channel.
Yeah. So, depending on your perspective, oh, by the way, this is titled, again, The One Rule for Life. Okay. I like his art on his stuff all the time. I wonder who does it. It's probably just stock. But anyways, depending on your perspective, Immanuel Kant was either the most boring person on the planet
Such
or
a
a productivity hacker's wet dream. Nice. See? Sometimes. Okay. For over 40 years, he woke up every morning at 5 a.m. and wrote for exactly 3 hours. He would then lecture at the same university for exactly 4 hours. He followed that up with lunch at the same restaurant each day, and then in the afternoon he would go on an extended walk to the same park on the same route, leaving and returning home at exactly the same time every day.
I believe he is one of those philosophers that literally never left his hometown. It's hilarious. And then he tried to write about universal moral rules. It's great.
Well, 21 Pilots is a song about their hometown being in the dark.
Oh.
It's parallel with where you grew up in your childhood and maybe religion or whatever, blah blah blah, and then how you change and yada yada, and then you're like, what? How did I come out of here? I think. I mean, I'm also really bad at interpreting. I don't know, interpreting even like simple plots or things. Yeah. Okay, so yada yada. Kant spent his entire life, ooh, nice, and Königsberg, Prussia?
Yep. Good old
Really?
Prussia. That was before it was thrown into Germany, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And now I'm continuing. I mean that literally he never left the city. Despite the sea being an hour away, he never saw it.
Called it.
Do you say Kant? It's probably easier. It's better than saying
I can't even.
I can't even say Kant, Kant was efficiency personified. He was so mechanical in his habits that his neighbors joked they could tune their clocks based on when he left his apartment each day. He would leave for his daily walk at 3:30 p.m., have dinner with the same friend every evening. Wow, that's actually keeping a friend that long. Anyways, and return home to finish work and go to bed at exactly 10 p.m. It's easy for us to scoff at a guy like this. What a dweeb. I mean, seriously, get a life, dude, right? But Kant was one of the most important and influential thinkers in modern history. He did more to steer the world from his single-room apartment in Prussia than most kings and armies ever did before him.
He did come up with the moral categorical imperative. It's pretty impressive.
If you're living in a democratic society that protects individual rights, you have Kant to partially thank for that. He was the first person to ever envision a global governing body that could guarantee peace across much of the world. He described space-time in such a way that inspired Einstein's discovery of relativity. And he came up with the idea that animals could potentially have rights, invented the philosophy of aesthetics and beauty, and resolved a 200-year philosophical debate in the span of a couple hundred pages. He reinvented moral philosophy from top to bottom, overthrowing ideas that had been the basis of Western civilization since Aristotle. Kant was an intellectual bad butt.
A bad butt?
Bad arse. What did they say in
The Good Place?
yeah.
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I have
I just used the word fork a lot.
yeah. Anyway, if brains had balls, Kant would have been made of steel and walked. Okay, I'll just say that.
That's pretty good.
If brains had balls, Kant would have been made out of steel and walked funny. His ideas, particularly about ethics, are still discussed and debated in thousands of universities today. And that's what I want to talk about. Kant's moral philosophy and why it matters. Now, I know what you're saying. Really, Mark? Moral philosophy? Who fucking cares, man? Show me shiny sunset, inspirational quotes, and catfish. Actually, don't do that. That gets me.
Just click away immediately.
Anyway, I think it's only good to do that if it's right wrong. Anyway, well, that right there is moral philosophy. Anytime you say, who cares, or what's the big deal, you're essentially questioning the value of something. Is it worth your time and attention? Is it better or worse than something else? These are all questions of value. We fall under the umbrella of moral philosophy. Our moral philosophy determines our values, what we care about and what we don't care about, and our values determine our decisions and actions and beliefs. Therefore, moral philosophy applies to everything in our lives. Got it? Okay, good. And then there is a poster, inspirational looking poster picture on there that says moral philosophy, because if you have to ask, then you probably need it. I kind of like that. It's so... Anyway. Kant's moral philosophy is unique and counterintuitive. Kant believed that for something to be good, it had to be universal. That is, it can't be, quote, right to do something in one situation and, quote, wrong to do it in another. If lying is wrong, it has to be wrong all the time. It has to be wrong when everyone does it, period. If it isn't always right or always wrong, then that cannot be a valid ethical principle. That Kant is a valid principle? Anyway, okay. Kant called these universalized ethic principles, quote, categorical imperatives, like what you said, which are rules to live by that are valid in all contexts, in every situation, to every human being. Well, holy shirts. Universal laws that dictate all morality for every human being? Sure. Want fries with that? It's so impossible. It sounds ludicrous, but Kant made a heck of an attempt. In fact, he made a number of attempts at creating categorical imperatives. Some of those attempts I just thought about is that I might have access to this article because I paid for a subscription for a year. Does that change the legality?
It doesn't matter.
I can't. Okay.
It doesn't.
Alright, back to the article. Some of those attempts were quickly... Wait. But Kant made a hell of an attempt. Oh, wait. You know what? It's so impossible it sounds ludicrous. Rewind. But Kant made a hell of an attempt. In fact, he made a number of attempts at creating categorical imperatives. Some of those attempts were quickly ripped to shreds by other philosophers, but others have actually held up the test of time to some degrees. One of them in particular has kind of stuck, and in all of my years reading and studying philosophy, psychology, and other sciences, it's one of the most powerful statements I've ever come across.
Oh man, I've got a better one. Can't wait.
Its implications reach into every area in each person's life. In a single sentence, it sums up the bulk of our ethical... Okay, in a single sentence, it sums up the bulk of all our ethical intuitions and assumptions. And in each situation, it points to a clear direction for how we should be acting and why. One rule to rule them all? Okay, enough foreplay. Here's Kant's rule.
Act as though the maxim of your action would be applied universally.
You have the first
Oh,
three.
I'm so close.
No, actually.
I mean,
You have one word.
it's
the first word correct.
It's
Act that you use humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means.
Okay, gotcha.
If I want to actually interpret that or like internalize that, I have to read it quietly. Again. Like
It's
verbal,
not
audio,
natural English.
Even if for me,
I mean, he wrote an impression.
even when I'm reading it out loud, my audio like does not sink into my brain.
Aletha's rule is that she is always right.
Okay, well, I can't not
Continue.
disagree with that. Maybe you are always right. So far, you've been pretty right, as far as I know, in all of our conversations. Okay, act that you as humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always at the same time as an end, but never merely as a means. He says, I know. What, the actual fork? Okay, let's back up for a second. Kant believed that rationality was sacred. When I say rationality, I don't mean like Sudoku or chess grandmaster rationality. I mean rationality as the fact that we are the only known creatures in the universe that are capable to make decisions, weigh options, and consider moral implications of any and every action. Basically, consciousness. To Kant, the only thing that distinguishes us from the rest of the universe is our ability to process information and act out consciously in the world. And this, to him, is special, exceedingly special. For all we know, we are the only shot the universe has at intelligent self-organization. You should see my brain. And my house. Anyways, therefore we need to take it seriously, and therefore rationality and protecting conscious choice must be the basis for all our moral reasoning. Kant wrote that, quote, without rationality, the universe would be he did not write any of that. Without rationality, the universe would be a waste, in vain, and without purpose, end quote. To Kant's mind, without intelligence and the freedom to exercise some intelligence, we might as well all be a bunch of rocks. Rock on, dude.
I don't think he said that either.
Would matter. Therefore, Kant believed that all morality is derived from the protection and promotion of rational consciousness in each individual. So, like, how do you do that? Well, Kant's rule above, let's restate Kant's rule in a more modern language to make it more easily digestible. I have problems with digestion. Anyways, quote, each person must never be treated only as a means to some other end, but must also be treated as an end themselves. If this version of Kant's rule makes sense to you, skip the following gray box. If you're still confused about how a person can be a means or an end, then this box will explain it further, which Heather Foreman here must not skip gray boxes. First of all, gray is my favorite color, and why not? It's in a box, and I probably could use this. Okay, here's what it says in his gray box. Titled, Helpful Gray Box. Oh, and he spells it the same way I do, which is the British way. Helpful Gray Box for all people who are still confused by what means and ends are. Let's say I'm hungry and I want a burrito. So I get my car, I drive to Chipotle, and order my usual double meat monster that makes me oh so happy on a weekly basis. In this situation, eating the burrito is my quote, end goal. It's ultimately why I'm doing everything else. Getting in the car, driving, buying gas, and so on. All these things I do to get the burrito are the means, i.e., the things I must do in order to achieve my end. If you call a friend to find out how they're doing, calling them is a means. Finding out how they are doing is your end. If you leave a party early so you can wake up early in the morning, leaving the party is the means, and waking up early is your end. Means are things that we do conditionally. I don't want to get in my car and drive, but I want a burrito, therefore driving is the means to my burrito end. An end is something that is desired for one's own sake. It is the defining motivating factor of our decisions and behaviors. If I wanted to eat a burrito only because this is probably making like the 21-minute read, like really like
50 hours.
Something, I was gonna say 50 minutes. Okay, anyways, an end is something that is desired for its own sake. It is the defining motivating factor for our decision and behaviors. If I wanted to eat a burrito only because my wife wanted a burrito and I wanted to make her happy, then the burrito is no longer my end. It is now a means to an even greater end, which is making my wife happy. Children, careers. And if I only wanted to make my wife happy so I could hopefully get laid tonight, now my wife's happiness is a means to a greater end of sex. Yes. Likely that last example made you squirm a bit. Could you tell? Because, like, my reading and stuff? Yeah. He is right. How does he know? Is he here? Anyways, likely that last example made you squirm a bit, and think I'm kind of a dirtbag. And that's exactly what Khan is talking about. His argument, his rule, states that treating any human being as a means to some other end is the basis of all unethical behavior. So treating a burrito as a means to my wife's end is fine. It's good to make your spouse happy sometimes, but if I treat my wife as a means to the end of sex, then I am now treating her as a means, and Kant would argue that is some shade of wrong. Yes. If you didn't notice, I was really hungry while writing this. Okay, so that was the end of Mark Manson's Creative Thoughts. Okay, he continues. Let's give Kant's rule the common sense check. Number 1, lying is wrong because you are misleading another person's conscious behavior in order to achieve your own goal. You are therefore treating that person. You know, sometimes I'm wondering, like, just talking, I'm getting really lightheaded. Like I'm actually hearing, my hearing is going in and out. I feel really weird.
I'm talking, okay. Keep an eye on you.
When did that happen? That happened when I remember I got really sick and pleurisy and lost my voice and all that stuff. But also this only other time it happened was when I was having my allergic reaction and I wasn't getting oxygen. Like my pulse rate was really high, but oxygen was like 24%. Anyways, okay, so yeah, the first part of this common sense rule check is that, you know, for misleading another person's conscious behavior in order to get your own, therefore lying is unethical. Number 2, cheating is unethical for a similar reason. You are violating the expectations of other rational and sentient beings for your own personal aims, and you are treating the rules and expectations agreed to with others as a means to your own personal ends. Number 3, violence, same deal. You are treating another person as a means to some greater political or personal end. Bad. Reader, bad.
Aletha says everyone is a means to her end.
But if you are the most, what did you say, right person, if you're always right, then you could argue then that is good for everyone.
Not according to this system. Doesn't matter how right you are.
But what if Aletha was always right? Right is right.
Still want to make it right according to...
But Kant would have to... But that's assuming that you don't know that Aletha is right. Right?
It doesn't matter. Rightness or wrongness of opinion doesn't change.
Action of people.
Yeah.
So Kant's formulations check all the boxes that we would expect from a moral theory, but it also goes way beyond common sense morality. In fact, I will try to argue that Kant's rule plausibly extends pretty much everything that we value as right and good today. Check it out. The moral complications of Kant's rule. The list below is incomplete. Some of the items Kant explicitly wrote about. Others are extrapolations.
Extrapolation.
See?
I extrapolated what you meant.
Yeah. Again, why is destructful not a word? I'm basically Urban Dictionary, like current. Like, keep making it up, man. Make it real. Anyways, others are extrapolations. I think I'm still saying that. Anyway, that I've taken from his work and applied to my own work. My hope is that by the end of it, you see the incredible flexibility of this single moral maxim to extend to almost all areas of human life. I would say
Is that just the intro?
Yeah, I would say that Kant's rule made all these diverse people happy, but Kant doesn't give a shit about happiness.
No, that's not.
Hey, that is interesting. Okay, laziness. He says, okay, see, I'm not the only person. I read that.
Okay.
Laziness. Okay, I'm as lazy as the next guy. Full disclosure. And I often feel guilty about it. We all know that forking off in the short term inevitably. Wow, I know this word. I look so smart.
You almost got it.
And it sounds so smart. We all know that forking off in the short term wow, I cannot say it while looking at it. Inevitably, thank you, harms us in the long term. But for whatever reason, in the short term gains versus long term loss, calculations never seem to inspire us or move us. But that's not, well, maybe if calculators were a little more fun. Okay, but that's not why Kant thinks it's wrong. In fact, Kant would say that this is the wrong way to think about laziness. It's insufficient. Kant believed that we all had a moral imperative to do the best we can at all times. I almost said can't, just because my brain's wants to throw in a joke. Okay. But he didn't say to do our best because of self-esteem or personal utility or contributing to society or whatever. He went further than that. He argued you should do your best because anything less is to treat ourselves as a means rather than an end.
Treat ourselves.
Yeah.
Twist.
Oh, did I say treat ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you can treat yourself as means as well. When you're sitting on the couch, refreshing Twitter for the 20th time, you're treating your mind and your attention as a mere pleasure receptacle.
Receptacle.
Yes. I'm not drunk, I just sound like it all the time. You're not maximizing the potential of your consciousness. In fact, you are using your consciousness as a means to stimulate your emotional needs. This is not only bad, Kant would argue, but it's unethical. You are actively harming yourself. Another, what are these called?
Bullet point.
Thank you. Wow. Good job, Rain. Okay, next bullet point, number 2. Addiction. Believe it or not, Kant wasn't a total party pooper. He enjoyed some wine with his lunch and he smoked a pipe, but only at the same time each morning on only one bowl of tobacco. That was cool. Okay, Kant wasn't anti-fun. What he was against, though, was pure escapism. He wrote that using alcohol or other means of escaping one's own life was unethical. Avatars. Sims was unethical because Super Mario, no, just kidding, Zelda, but escaping one's own life was unethical because it requires you to it requires you to use your rational mind and freedom as a means to some other end, in this case, getting your next high. Kant believed in facing one's problems. He believes that suffering is sometimes warranted and necessary in life. I believe that. We tend to judge the immorality of addiction by the damage it causes to others, but Kant believed that first, overindulgence was fundamentally the act of being immoral to oneself, and the harm it did to others was merely collateral damage. It was a failure to confront the reality of one's own mind and one's consciousness, and this failure is akin to lying to oneself or cheating oneself out of precious life potential. And to Kant, lying to yourself is just as unethical as lying to others. Bullet point number something next. Whatever. 3. Bullet point 3. People pleasing and seeking approval. Did he know I was going to read this? Okay, I know it's not a good strategy to be kissing people's arses all the time, but unethical? Really? Isn't being really nice to people and making them happy an ethical thing to do? Not necessarily. Seeking approval and people pleasing forces you to alter your actions and speech to no longer reflect what you actually think or feel. Yep, we hide. Anyway, so right there, you're already treating yourself as a means rather than an end. But it gets worse. Because if you alter your speech or behavior in order to make others like you, then you're also treating them as a means to your ends. You're altering and manipulating their perceptions of you in order to garner a pleasure response. Nope. In order to garner a pleasant response from them. Kant would, and I would have to say, in personal experience,
No.
it lets people
Walk all over you?
but hide and manipulate you.
Oh.
And they know that they're manipulating. They can tell. You know, at some point they can tell that you're doing something nice for them, but they take advantage of it. And it only leads to people being worse to each other. You're being worse for yourself, and they're being worse to yourself, and they get to lie to themselves too. By saying,
About
oh, well,
being
you're
good
letting
people.
me do it, so I'm not doing bad. And so it really ultimately does not help people become better people when they don't know.
Yeah.
Like, my whole point of, like, this sabbatical is learning and really playing out the different ways that this could come back up, or, like, when I return to work or just in life in general, is when I am, like, the biggest thing is I'm embarrassed and afraid to tell people, like, hey, you kind of hurt my feelings. Mainly because, in general, people do not want to take any sort of responsibility for the actions that they do to others. And so when you say, hey, or ask to clarify, did you mean it like this? Because it, you know, or were you mad or something? And they're like, no, why? And they're like, well, you said it like this and it hurt my feelings. And suddenly they're all up in defense, saying, oh my God, you're just so sensitive, Heather. Stop complaining. Why do you have to make everything so dramatic? And so basically they hide and turn it around against you to make it focused about you and your problems. And then you just lose track because you're embarrassed. And they know that you, like, go overboard to make them happy in general. So it's just a thing to shut you down. It's like reversing. I have a word that I use for that, and it makes so much sense, but I always forget it. Like that kind of
It's called being a shirt head.
tactic. No, like the tactic that they're doing. It makes, what it does for me personally, it makes me forget and confused into where suddenly I'm put on, like, I'm having to apologize now. I'm having to apologize and take accountability for their first hurting me and then being shamed for saying that. And then I'm having to back up, and they're putting me on the spot to defend.
Yeah, you've got to.
Something that it's like, wait, what? I'm defending now, like my upset, and now they hold it over me. They hold this over me that I make trouble because I let them walk all over me and let that kind of tactic work.
Alita says, that's weird. I mean, I can understand feeling embarrassed and bad about hurting someone's feelings, and I might be a little defensive at first, but give me a second to wrap my mind around it, and I'll definitely apologize. Yeah, ideally, that's what happened. Hey, thank you, Ginny Weasley, for subscribing. Say hi to Harry Potter for me.
Ooh, yes. How are the kids? Well, yeah, but it happens in more of a, like a, what are those? A subtle way. Like those walking all over you, whatever. It builds up in a subtle way.
Yeah.
Like, example is relationships or in jobs, right? It's one thing, like, if you're in an argument or an obvious discussion or something with like a sibling and you just blurt out like, oh yeah, you suck, or I hate you, or blah blah blah. Like there's like those big obvious dramatic offenses, but then there's those little ones that when you're like maybe like trying your best, especially if it's like to please management, you're doing your best and you're working your hardest to do these things, you know, and to please your management team. And then there's these little slights that maybe you kind of like don't notice or you slough off, but at some point they build up, and what they do is subtly actually show a character of someone else. They structure a character of that person to where it becomes obvious, to where you have to say, wait a minute, wait, are they actually, was that like a backhanded remark? Are they actually mad at me? Like, if that makes sense. Like, there's enough of it that it actually exposes that management's person's bad attitude or treatment to you. And you let it go because it was little things subtly, but then at some point even you can't pretend it's not happening. And you can't pretend, oh wait, it is affecting me, it is hurting. And you realize like, oh, I was getting really frustrated and snappy, and then now you know why. You're like, oh, wait a minute. It's because, oh, I actually am being treated like crap. Actually, I'm not valued. I asked for help, and then they rolled their eyes and said, stop complaining like everyone's complaining. I'm so sick of everyone complaining. And they just lumped you in. Because you know what? You don't matter as a person.
Just happen to have a million really bad managers in a row.
Oh, wow.
Alita says she's not defending their behavior.
Oh, you know, I know that. I'm saying, in obvious cases, I think it's more likely to happen like how you said, Alita. But in situations, in other situations, especially like, even, I mean, this is why a lot of people stay with an abusive partner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because it, like, you know, wasn't there obviously in the beginning, but then it starts to build up and it starts happening more and more and more. And every time that person, like, if it was just really a snap decision kind of treatment, whatever, they're not, like, because they get away with it, it becomes more of a habit. And so they feel, I don't know, it goes more and more unnoticed until you notice it. But anyways, oh, look at that. Toxic relationships, he says right here. Okay, so back to what his article says. Okay, seeking approval and people-pleasing forces you to alter your actions and speech no longer reflect what you actually feel or think. So right there, you've already treated yourself as a means rather than an end. But it gets worse, because if you alter your speech and behavior in order to make others like you, then you're also treating them as a means to your end. You're altering and manipulating their perception of you in order to garner a pleasant response from them. And Kant would undoubtedly argue that that is also unethical. How dare you tell me my shirt looks good on me, you unethical piece of crap! I've written at length about how people-pleasing and seeking approval leads to toxic relationships. It was actually a really good article. And he links it there. But again, as usual, Kant takes it even further because Kant was a fucking hardcore like that. Bullet point number 4, manipulation or coercion. Even if you're not lying, but you're communicating with an attitude and purpose of gaining something, like shutting people down, right? Okay, but you're communicating with an attitude and purpose of gaining something from someone without their full knowledge or explicit consent, then you are being unethical. Kant was big on fully informed consent. He believed it was the only way for there to be healthy interactions between individuals, and it was radical for his time, and it's something that people still struggle to accept today. There are two areas in the modern world where I think the consent issue is huge, and Kant would have a lot to say about it. The first is obvious: sex and dating. Under Kant's rule, anything short of explicit, fully informed, and fully sober consent is ethically out of bounds. This is a hot button issue today, and I personally think that people make it far more complicated than it needs to be. It basically means be respectful. People assume this means asking for permission 20 times on a date. It's not. All you have to do is state how you feel. Ask them how they feel, and then respect whatever response comes your way. That's it. Not complicated. And just to say, in case he doesn't hit this, but I know from other articles, it also means that yes, people are allowed to change their mind. You respect it. Anytime. Like, some people might try to argue that, like, oh, so if they change their mind, too bad, so sad. No. If they change their mind, they respect it. Anyways. Respect was also sacred within Kant's moral framework, because Kant believed that all conscious creatures have fundamental dignity that must be respected at all times and by everyone. For Kant, consent, really put those two words together. For Kant, consent was the act of demonstrating respect. Anything that did not move towards consent between two people was, to some degree, disrespectful. I know that makes Kant sound like an angry grandmother, but the implications of consent issues are far-reaching and wide, touching every human relationship we have. The other modern area that is problematic in sales is sales and advertising. Pretty much every marketing tactic is so true. Pretty much every marketing
Alright, hold on. I reached the limit of my bladder. And it's also after 10 o'clock, so.
Jeez. Yeah, well, you guys are lucky.
We'll have to pick this up next week. Stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of Kant's moral framework.
We don't have to do that. People are like, oh my gosh, shut up, Heather.
No one has said shut up. In fact, our viewership has risen 20% since you started reading, so.
Well, you can thank Mark Manson. I also do funny voices. You should give me a read a kid's book.
Alright, we'll see you guys later. Have a good night, and yeah, I'll see you Sunday as usual. Yeah, bye guys.